Hey everyone, I want to talk to you today about my top 3 hip internal external rotation motor control exercises. The hip plays a big role in how our body absorbs force. It plays a big role in how we generate our own force and our own power through all sorts of athletic movements. So if we're not able to control, if we're not able to have hip internal external range of motion, it's going to be really hard to generate that power. And if we do have it but we can't control it, then we're going to lose out in our power development and again in how we decelerate or absorb a lot of the force that's going through our body when we're doing things like running, walking, or any sort of athletic movement. So I want to talk to you today about my top 3 exercises for the hip. This is by no means an exhaustive list, and there are plenty out there, but these are the 3 that I have been really in love with lately. So here we go. So here's the first exercise. I like this exercise because we can really work through a full internal and external range of motion under a load. So you'll see that the resistance band is anchored at about waist level. And what I'm doing is I'm in a little bit of a stride stance with my core active, my spine in neutral, and I'm letting my pelvis rotate back and forth around my hip. So you see that my pelvis kind of comes forward and then rotates back. And I'm trying to control that range of motion all with my glute max and my hip external rotators. You can see it a little bit differently from this side. You can see how I open up and then close down. Now you should be under load the entire time when you're doing that, and you want to work through as full a range of motion as possible. The other key is to make sure that your knee is tracking straight the entire time while you're doing this exercise, and your hip is the only thing that's moving. So this exercise is a little bit different because we're not actually rotating through the hip on this. What we're doing is we're controlling an internal rotation force that's being dictated by the way that band is pulling. So that band is trying to pull my body into internal rotation around my hip, and I'm using my external rotators to stay upright and fight that resistance. This is great to work on controlling the force or the ground reaction force that we get when we do, walking or running or any type of bounding activity. Now this is very similar to the first exercise that I showed. The only difference is the direction of resistance. In this case, it's more of a y-axis up and down versus the first exercise, which was more rotational. And that's the nice thing about these exercises is we can vary the direction of resistance, the speed, or the load to affect what we're trying to go for. And here's a little bonus in terms of how we can vary the exercise depending on what we're going for. So these first few reps, you can see that slow and controlled, and then we can add a little speed to the movement to challenge the hip external rotators in a different way. And then we can use that variability to apply it to whatever activity we're trying to do. So that's the nice thing about all these exercises. It can be varied so much and fine-tuned specifically for what you're trying to accomplish as an athlete. I hope you all enjoyed these 3 exercises. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.